Remember to send the message. We're live. YouTube is telling me...
consuming my food.
Nice. Now, YouTube is telling me there may be a little bit of buffering. Hello.
Sorry for being late.
That's fine. We literally just started. Alright, okay. So, if there is YouTube buffering, I am sorry. It says it's not getting the juice, but that's not my problem. That's with the YouTube side of the server.
Sorry, I would say an argument. I had like a weird conflict with my friend about my birthday coming up.
What, did you tell them when your birthday was and they said you're a liar? Why would
No, it's more of just like, they want to make me something, but it's hard for me because I wanted something he just made genuinely, and that's hard for him.
It's a complicated thing. Oh.
It's complicated.
Yeah, sorry. Earlier I was nodding, and then I was about to be like, wait, I'm doing that thing where I nod my head and I don't say that I'm doing that. And then... Parched today. I do not know how long the episode will be, but we're gonna finish up Salmon Great, because we just did the monsters last time. We didn't even get to the old school spell traps last time, and that episode was still like over 3 hours. Because there's a lot of them. I'm also going to tack on probably Topologic at the end. You can argue should have done those with rockets, but the rocket episode is like 4 hours long, and also Topologics are weird. They're all Dark Cyberses, in case you didn't remember that, chat. So while you can summon them in rocket sometimes, if you dragon lock yourself, you can't. So, meh. I also want to say I misspoke before. I mentioned that there was a main deck Topologic archetype. That's not true. In the anime, there is a side character who uses something called Topologina, which is like Topologic, but with an Ina. And they're also still Dark Cyberses. None of those have been printed, but they're not quite the same. But first, as always, we like to get a little chatter. I like to also possibly bait the chat into a little bit of
engagement?
Reaction, yeah, some engagement. Master Duel ban list. They've announced it. I do not think this is live yet. Let me check out this is framed. A little punched in.
Fuck you, Appaloosa!
Yeah, so, Master Duel actually has, I know, the last, like, I think 2 or 3 Master Duel ban lists were, like, 2 cards or something. Now they're actually doing stuff. Yes, Appaloosa.
Anti-spell!
Yes, anti-spell. They're killing it. They're getting rid of it finally. They are straight up sending Appaloosa. I like that they have to say both versions of the card art to jail. Yeah. Ouroboros, jail.
I need to pause for a moment. This is the most Japanese game thing ever. Where you have to show both alt arts and not just assume that's how that goes.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's so funny that they have to include both the arts just to let you know, no, both of them are banned. You can't get around this by playing the alt art.
It's like the most Japanese game running a game that is multicultural.
Yeah, I mean, the only way it would be sillier is also accounting for stuff like some of you may remember this from a previous Master Saga season, but shit like how, oh yeah, no, when the alt arts of the live twins are in, those are ultra rares that you can't craft. Can you roll in the packs the normal super rare ones? No, die. This is actually happening right now with the Dragon Maid pack. They basically, I think, completely destroyed the old Dragon Maid Starry Night random dragon slop secret pack and gave Dragon Maid a secret pack which also includes some Chaos Dragon stuff. Temporarily, they are doing alt arts of both Dragon Maid Hospitality and House Dragon Maid. I have 3 copies of the Ultra Rare Hospitality alt art, but have not gotten any House Dragon Maids yet. We'll see about that. But also all the new Dragon Maid supports in Master Duel, and it fucking rules. I can talk about that more later if we want, but yeah, the ban list here. So, Lotso happy, anti-spell's gone. We're preemptively getting rid of Artifact Mjolnir. And we're also removing Evil Swarm Ouroboros from the mix. Now, Mjolnir's interesting because while I am pretty sure that you can do the combo pre-K9, it's a lot more reliable if you're doing it in K9, and so people were like, oh, is K9 going to come out this month? No. They have announced what the new selection pack this month is going to be. It's going to be even more Sky Striker support, even more Magistus support, and also, I think, the Lunalight stuff, the brand new Lunalight stuff.
When you say that, it's basically like even further ridiculous adventures of Hildebrandt. It's like
that is how I feel about Sky Striker sometimes. But yeah, no, they're doing a couple of new Sky Striker cards, and some other stuff. So I don't think K9's going to be in it yet. And then they have a bunch of limits.
I guess now you're going to have to actually splice more things in your deck if you can't run most of your actual main Ryzeal. And you always said Ballast cards are you need all names anyway and all deck to like have a deck anyway. So it's like
I have mentioned this before. They have a good sub engine to run the Dark Cyber stuff, the Code Talkers Ad Ignister combo, like that stuff. That was like a pretty good engine to run in there. Then you're still just kind of like playing Dark Cyber, so you're not really playing Malice. Malice is a deck that has exactly 4 main deck names, and if you want to actually do your full combo, you do need to find all 4 of them over the course of your turn. It's not hard, but it can cause problems. So Chessy Cat to 1, that is one of your like starters. I believe a couple of your other starters are already semi-limited in Master Duel, so this is really going to hurt the deck's consistency. You're going to have to, like you said, rely a lot on that Dark Cyber's bridge. Ryzeal X'd and Sword to 1 is basically... The thing is, I don't know... I feel like Konami almost designed all these fucking Ryzeals to be limit 1'd because Ryzeal is barely a deck on its own. Like, obviously... Detonator is pretty cool, but he's technically generic. The one that is archetype locked is Duo Drive, which is good but not the best. The main thing is just that Ryzeal is a method by which you can place approximately 9 gajillion level 4s on your field. I would have said 5, but that's not true. Technically, if you start putting those guys under some Exige materials, you might be able to summon more than 5 times. So... it's really good. Now, Mitsurugi is out in Master Duel. I have not tried Mitsurugi in Master Duel yet, because it's, unfortunately, all the good cards are super high rarity, and Konami gave them enough okay cards to be low rarity that it's not like all the cards are ultras and supers. It's just, just enough of them are. So I haven't actually assembled that brew. But with the Ryzeal limits, you're going to be doing an interesting thing. Now, it's very interesting to see, this is a very not OCG-pilled move, Called By to 1. I don't think this is undeserved, because Called By is one of those power cards that if I see going first, I'm just like, oh, I don't have to give a shit about anything. I've got a Called By. That's Called By is the great excuse to be like, well, if my opponent has something in his hand, I'm going to tell him to get fucked. The problem is, chat, you're going to see this with the semi-limits as well. Maxi, still limit 2. This means that there is approximately twice as many chances to draw a Max C than there are to draw a Called By, the card that stops Max C. And as we know, that sucks. But yeah.
And this is weird to say, but I feel like some games have to be like I feel like instead of games being like it's like why we do our decisions, I'd like to like sometimes hear explanations like why did we not do this thing, like
why did we not make decisions? That could be interesting. Yes. Genesis
that's kind of like exhausting, but like Genesis is different. You have to explain point choices.
Well, yeah, they did talk about that a little. Some people didn't like it because the tone of the point list changes is a little how would I say this, pithy. It is a little jokey. Like, they said they were only explaining some of the changes, not all of them. And unfortunately, I feel like that makes some people kind of, like, feel a little bummed out. Personally, there's some things I'm okay with. Like, this is going to be weird, chat, but follow me on this. I don't know why content creators are always like, where are the Radiant Typhoon hits? There's no Radiant Typhoon hits. I don't get it. It's a brand new deck that's not going to be competitive in traditional. That's what Genesis is for. Now, some people are like, no, Genesis is so I can play GOAT decks. No, it's not. They said today's cards, yesterday's gameplay. Like, anything that's not completely link-based, which Radiant Typhoon is getting a link later. They've shown that off in the OCG. That won't be in Genesis, so there will be some limits.
I'm sorry. Let's see. I'm sorry. Most people that actually like the Brains era decks, they're like the link parts are not what you need, but they're required, unfortunately.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't know if this sort of like point thing they could experiment
you could
with.
Play Dark Lord. I think you can play Dark Lord pretty decently, or Lunalights. Lunalights are also always pretty good.
Lunalights are going to be pretty strong. Yeah, there's a few out there. Lunalight is, of course,
there is, but I don't know how many Xyz monsters they banned.
Probably not that many. Constellar's probably pretty good. I'd have to check the point values.
It's only penned and link monsters they fucked over.
But I do want to say, like Lunalight's annoying because you can't play Wolf, and that's still a pretty critical part of the combo. But you can probably make do because they've had enough support. You can find some extra names, or just
you
play
the common charity deck. You just play the common charity deck and make it just spruce up a bit.
Well, that's the thing about common charity is I'm pretty sure Wolf and Tiger, the pendulum monsters, are both commons. They, like I said, they're pretty strong, but I don't know if they're integral because Lunalight has so much support. But anyway, no, I was gonna say about Genesis also is like I believe Farfa just held a Genesis Open, which had a super diverse top 8. There were like a couple Radiant Typhoons. They didn't make it to the finale. It was, I think, Magistus Dracotail, like just Fusion Turbo that got there. I don't remember exactly. Did I bookmark that tweet or just like it? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. But like I said, a lot of people are like super concerned about Radiant Typhoon for reasons that I'm not going to say are illegitimate, but they are not doing a good job of articulating. Like, I suspect the fear is that they're afraid that Genesis will be all about promoting brand new decks, so you have to buy new shit. But also, people complain about how, like, literally, I heard MBT do this. He was like, oh, they didn't do any Radiant Typhoon hits. Why didn't they do that? Also, oh, I'm concerned that Genesis is just going to ban decks that are good, and so you can't keep playing the same deck. And it's like, these two opinions don't match up, Mr. BT. Radiant Typhoon is a deck that is brand new and is good. Why would you want it hit on the very first point list? Like, give them a month to see. And like I said, it is interesting. There is also some kind of, like, weird, I want to say, like, self-reporting vibe to the article, because they were like, hey, some of you were asking why we didn't raise points on D-Shifter. We understand it's very annoying, but a lot of people still aren't playing D-Shifter, so we don't feel the need to actually increase the points. Which is, like I said, I understand that might be that's a game balance decision some people may not agree with, but I think is still
their deck data to the actual, like, census.
Well, yeah, and they did talk about that. Like, obviously, they get official tournament results, but if you're doing, like, you know, online stuff or playing at, like, locals and stuff, they aren't as in detail. And they did say that, like, hey, you know, show us your deck list, hashtag them on Twitter, we'll see them. But then people were like, hey, is this like, are we ratting ourselves out? Are we self-reporting our decks? If they're good, they're gonna get hit. So I think some of it is just that, like, this format is brand new and people don't know what the rules are, basically. Personally, I don't know. Like, I understand if somebody's like, but this encourages, you know, promoting this secret sauce and not revealing your techniques. Yeah, sure, but also, like, we should just...
I mean, that was the whole thing in, like, I think the Road to the King book or something.
Well, yeah, and also it's a thing that's been discussed extensively with shit like selling spreadsheets and stuff, like, you know, getting the sauce and whatever, the goo being behind. That's already an issue. Also, two, people are gonna do that anyway, because if they'll do that about anything, including Genesis, a format that is, I want to say, barely real. They have promised there will be a full Genesis YCS, but it is, for now, just a cool side event we do. But also, like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think we should just discourage that behavior anyway. Like, this is a thing I've talked about at length. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are, like, the most competitive and sometimes, like, petty and short-sighted people for literally nothing. for an air fryer, for a Nintendo Switch. Like, there's no cash prizing, so the competition is purely about ego, and it's like, I guess that just means that it encourages people to sign up who are in it for the ego, but, like, I don't know, man. If one guy hides the deck list and, like, dodges the point adjustment so he can win a side event at a YCS 1 month, who fucking cares? It's 4 to 6 weeks every point list, okay? Also, I think a lot of people online aren't as cool as they think they are. This is where they talked about the unrealistic clickbait combo dimension. Like, what people craft in their head is not always going to be good. I even admit this about myself. I've had some ideas in deck lists.
You can't predict. Listen, just because you're training in off-camera loft, it doesn't mean your deck is good. It just means that you just only know how to work around someone that has only good hands when they're not on camera.
Yeah, no, it's
So you guys can't see it.
The off-camera loft.
I literally leaned over and stared directly at Axe's icon on Discord.
Jimming from the office real hard. Yeah, no, it's like...
No, I said it because it's like... I probably could invert the statement of being like, just because you're testing around someone that always somehow magically magically has
fucks?
I would say fuck it up, but no, it's more of like has life magically fuck it up for them every time you do it. Doesn't mean it's actually a viable strategy.
Yeah, I know. Like, there's a lot of stuff with stats, probs, and other weird things going on. You know, yeah.
I still need to give Loft an unbreakable deck. Some exist. There are some that exist in Yu-Gi-Oh! They do exist in Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, they may exist, but the problem is, if they are unbreakable, do they also have every piece you need? Like, this is my problem, like playing Master Duel is sometimes you're minding your own business, you're going first, finally. You've won your first coin toss and get to go first for the 3rd time in 4 games in a row. Look at your hand. What is it? 5 different hand traps. And you're just like, well, shit. Where were you the 4 times I went second and didn't show up? I just drew engine. And I couldn't play the game because my opponent just did it great. I don't know. But yeah, the Master Duel ban list is looking interesting. I, don't know what this means overall for the format. I will have to cut. Sorry, I'm like trying to tab back into Discord. It was being really laggy. I don't know what it'll mean, for, like, overall deck builds. I have Apo in a couple of decks just because it's like, well, we're going to make a bunch of material. Maybe. Oh, okay, that was our problem. Our problem is we're accidentally saving as. And that's why we were slow. Anyway, the main thing that will be... It's very small. Hold on. Supposed to be that small. The main thing will be that I will get a bunch of free UR dust and 1 free slot in every single one of my decks because I always run 2 called by. I always run the maximum number of called by because called by is a really good card. Obviously, there are a lot of a lot of merits about it being very punishing. It is a card that makes going second even harder. But it stops Max C. And it stops Effect Veiler and Ash Blossom and shit when I have... It's one of those things, right? I need Yu-Gi-Oh cards to be context sensitive. I need to be able to only have 3 copies of Called By when I'm playing my exact 1 normal summon for the turn that if my opponent stops, I will fucking die.
Honestly, it's kind of where I feel like more cards need to be like, you can do stuff in main phase 2 for better versions of their effects.
That would be nice, because, like, you can't...
That is ripping from one of the Twitter threads, but, like...
If you can't do that going first, so...
Of being, yeah, I think it'd be a more elegant solution of being, like, for main phase 2, it has an effect, but on main phase 2, it has an even, like, effect that's, like, twice to 3 times as good, or has, like, 2 extra clauses to it.
And if you had a deck built around those effects, that would actually, like, incentivize, like, going some back and forths, because you can't do that turn 1. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff involved in that. And I mean, Call By still doesn't stop Imperm. Imperm activates from hand and doesn't leave the field until it's done negating. You know, you put it on the board, then you send it to graveyard, so you can't cold buy it. It's also not a monster effect. So, like, there's still some solutions out there. We didn't really talk about the semi-limits, but I had it on screen for a while. The only semi-limit is they're putting Droll from 2 to 3. This I approve of. Obviously, some people were also like, well, Droll is also a card that stops Max C. This is true. Also, though, I hate his guts. I've talked about this before. I understand that people take Droll and Lockbird as kind of a barometer on the health of the format. Also, Droll and Lockbird is a lingering floodgate effect that prevents you from engaging with a fundamental mechanic of the game. You are not allowed to do something if you do it, so it's, like, really annoying, because it's not even like it negates those effects or your opponent draws a card or something. It's just like, oh, no, you can't do that. Your opponent can't do that. So they just can't activate cards then, and it's just like, that sucks. Like I said, we
just no.
They need to come out with Droll 2. Just, they already made the Mulch Armies to kind of replace Max C. Just make a 4th Mulch Army that just does, you know, whenever your opponent adds a card to their hand outside of the draw phase this turn, draw a card. Give it the shuffle back effect. Sorry, I sneezed, hopefully partially off mic. I tried to put my hand in the way.
You're fine.
But like I said, make it have the shuffle back effect, where if you like have more cards in your hand than your opponent does, like if they play out their entire board and you just have like 14 cards in your hand, you got to put like 7 of them back. Otherwise, it you know, I think it still works out because Droll's annoying. Shout out to my gals and pals though in the labyrinth. Chandelier and Stovey Torby finally went from 2 to 3. Labyrinth has finally paid for their sins. Also, Labyrinth would be fine if you guys just banned D-Barrier. Anyway, we're going to talk about... yeah, I'm just on the delayed screen. But we're gonna make sure my preview's up to date. We're going to talk about Salaman. Great. Salad Man, it's great. So this spell card is called Burning Draw, but it has a parenthetical that says this is always treated as a Salamangreat card. There are several Salamangreat spells that have this effect. I don't know why specifically they do it for Salamangreat a lot, but they do. I have talked about this before. I love parentheticals. We should do this more because it lets you do more funny things with card names while also still making them searchable without getting weird shit like several archetypes that have, you know, monsters named one thing and their spells named another thing, which can, you know, goof up combo lines and searches. Anyway, Burning Draw is a normal spell. The card art's pretty normal because it's just he's doing a Burning Draw. But it says, if your opponent controls more cards than you do, target a link monster your opponent controls, draw cards equal to its link rating. You can only activate 1 Burning Draw per turn. You can't normal or special the turn you activate this card, except fire. Also, sorry, the solo mode music was going like real dramatic back there. Let me cycle out of that and roll back down. But yeah, Burning Draw is just... It's kind of the archetype Pot of Greed. That was a thing they did do a couple of times. But technically, it could be like a draw 4 or 5. Hypothetically, it could be a draw 6. Assuming you can target that Link 6 monster. But yeah, no, it's probably drawing you like 2 to 4 cards reasonably. The main problem is they have to have more cards than you do, and they have to have a card. So I feel like this card is decently popular in some decks, but probably isn't that popular now. Just because if you go first, it doesn't do anything. But it could do stuff. And certainly I would consider running it in my my side deck. Like, if I knew I was going second. But only if my opponent's playing a Link deck. That's another thing that, obviously, as we left the Vrain's MR4... excuse me. The guarantee that your opponent was playing a Link deck got a lot lower. So you're less likely to be able to do that. Sage is saying in the chat that yes, you can also donate to your opponent, but that's not always guaranteed, and you're probably better off keeping your high-level Link monsters on your field. This is another thing I've also talked about. Like, people are talking about shit like Fallen the Virtuous and other things like that, all those monsters. I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs to do, like, a fundamental rules shift where we either need to just ban every card that says to summon a card to your opponent's field that they don't control, like your opponent doesn't get to pick, or we need to just blanket errata every single card that has that special summon restriction to be the original owner of this card, so that it only floodgates yourself like it's supposed to. Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards were not meant to be special summoned to your opponent's field. It's like that old dumb meme about, these numbers are meaningless. Not every game was meant to have RPG mechanics. It's like, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! You were not supposed to be special summoning monsters to your opponent's field like that. Or if you were, it was like your opponent gets to pick. But now it is a thing that, like, some decks just do. Looking at you, Brandon. And it's really annoying. Obviously, I get that, like, there are incentives to do that with, like, Gimmick Puppet. Has incentivized to give your opponent certain cards to blow them up. But luckily, I think, other than the Gimmick Puppet name that had the special summon lock that they've banned in most formats, they don't, like, do the lock effect. Almost none of those are, like, archetypal cards. So it's just super annoying. I've already heard people talking about fucking Fallen the Virtuous and, like, Pure Mitsurugi is like, you can get rid of Ido the Summon Beast from your field, but then, because it's destroyed, it's a mandatory special summon back to your opponent's field and locks them out of summoning. It's just like, why even play this stupid lizard? I think is it Ido the Magical Beast, Ido the Master? It's a big blue reptile, like, level 7 that has it says, by the way, you cannot summon monsters, not even special summon. It's just so frustrating. But yeah, Burning Draw is a card that's pretty cool in concept, but it does not do anything guaranteed these days. But I do like the design space around it. Don't have much to say about the card art. It is a Burning Draw. I'm pretty sure it's the Salad Players, or one of his skills associated anyway, in Duel Links.
It also, I think it's because it's also one of his namesake, when him doing the Burning Draw, and they put it even into one of his, like, monster cards to do the Burning Draw effect, like Heat Soul.
Yeah.
Nothing else to add.
Then let us look at the next one. It's another one that's like, this is always a Salmon Crate card. It's Fury of Fire. It shows animals on fire. This is a card that is designed for an anime memento, so it's not super good, but the card art's really cool.
Stream. That's just 2 fire animals.
Yeah. So Fury of Fire has for when it was printed, especially, this was still like this was in the special edition of, like, Dark Neostorm and Rising Rampage. So this is 2019. This is, like, early 2019 also. So this is, like, the peak Vrain's MR4 era. It says, special summon 2 Silent Great monsters, different names from your hand and or graveyard in defense position, but their effects are negated. And also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you can only special summon from the extra deck once. You only activate 1 Fury of Fire per turn. Yeah, that sucks. That's a terrible effect to have in this time period. You get 1 more summon. I guess, like, if your opponent, like, on your 5th summon sticks you with Nibiru, you can be like, well, give me my Link materials back anyway. Actually, wait, no, you can't because they're in defense position, so you can't even summon back Link monsters with this. Yeah, this sucks. This is the worst extender in the universe. If I think any of the Salomon greats actually had like 200 defense, like it would be better to run Rekindling.
It seems like it.
Yeah. Like I said, I expect this would be for like a cool anime memento, yes, but it's not very good in paper. They got 3 monsters with 200 defense? Okay. I can see it. No. It's my bad. I copied the text of our next card.
I gotta go and see it.
Okay.
Okay,
See ya. I feel like that was a little earlier than usual, but that's okay. I am pretty sure we looked at this already, but I will remind everybody of this one. Fusion of Fire. Also always treated as a Salmon Great card. And is this one a... I looked at already. Okay, no, so that's an equipped spell. All right. Yeah, so Fusion of Fire is a card we have mentioned before, I believe, already.
Yeah, but it's nice. The red and purple fusing together. Simple.
Yes, for a fusion card, because it does have fusion in its name. It's following the theme, but in a unique way. We like it. It is always treated as a Salmon Great card. Fusion summon a Salmon Great from your extra deck. Fusion. Using monsters from your hand or field, or either field as material. So it's a non-quick play super poly, but it also does it -1U. But still, very funny, because, you know, there are... The Salmon Great Fusion can involve that. But our next card actually has a card art that is also, like, simple but good-looking. Not a lot to say about it, but it looks neat. This is Rising Fire. So, Rising Fire, pretty simple. It's a Phoenix. It's rising. This is like Premature Burial, but it's a little more situational. Chat was asking this card is like something, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of pre-mat. So, how this one works is, if you control no monsters, specifically, activate this card by targeting a fire in your graveyard, special summon and equip it. The equipped monster gains 500 attack. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. If this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can banish a monster on the field. You use each effect once per turn. So that is a non-targeting effect. This is good. It's kind of like pre-mat at home, but obviously I think it has some other effects. Like, on the one hand, you have to control no monsters. On the other hand, you do get 500 attack out of it, and it doesn't cost life points. Your monster is destroyed if Rising Fire is destroyed or leaves the field, period. Which is a good text to print in case your opponent plays Hey Trunade or something. But also, it does have the effect that if your opponent just pops it, you're like, okay, non-targeting banish. Banish a monster. So, seems pretty good for what it's doing, but mostly useful because it's searchable. I'm pretty sure it's been in some deck lists. So, I'm gonna pull up our next one.
I have nothing to add for that one.
I might have something to say about this next one. Because this one actually has, like, some of these, like, with, like, the very dark backgrounds and stuff. Like, I like the color contrast. We kind of talked about the fire, you know, red and orange colors and the purple before. It's cool, but they're very simplistic. This one actually has, like, art and drawing. This is Salamangreat Burning Shell. I'm actually kind of surprised this doesn't have a trivia page to it, because I think these are the little feathers look exactly like the way that one old school Yu-Gi-Oh card is that lets you place a spell card on top of your deck. I'm going to mute my mic, though, and run out real quick, chat, so I'll be right back as you look at this burning shell.
Oh, you've been left with me. Oh, no. Nah, this card does look pretty nice, though. Simplistic, not too overdone. You get what... Get the general gist of it. Yeah, so what I'm seeing of these spells and trap cards, they're very simplistic, which, you know, not the worst. What's the best way to describe this? Considering some of the Salamangreat monsters we've seen, seeing these being so simplistic instead of like over-designed or just anything else, it's a weird change of pace, but it does look nice. It's like a weird but neat contrast. Sorry, Chad, you're stuck with me, and I don't know. I don't have anything else to add. I'm sorry. Can only wait for Omega to come back and save us all.
Then rejoice.
Oh, thank fuck.
Yeah, I actually had my headphones on while I was gone, so I heard all that. I don't think you were too bad off.
No.
Like, there were some long pauses, but I think what you had to say was insightful. I agree. These are usually pretty straightforward, and honestly, that's probably to their benefit. Obviously, like, monsters, you can usually remember what they're called, like, based on their name and stuff, but being able to, like, look in your hand and go, ah, yeah, I remember what that spell card does. You know, because they all look very distinct is good. I was going to say earlier, though, in your first batch of statements, you started to say something and cut yourself off. It sounded like you were almost going to say, you know, you get what you pay for, and I was going to be like, hmm? But no, you changed it up. All right. Yeah, you were talking about the card. It was kind of like, I think you were trying to say what you see is what you get. But you you stumbled over a little, and then like I said, it almost sounded like you were going to see, you know, you get what you, and then you trailed off and were like, no. I was like, is he going to say get what you pay for? That's not correct. Anyway, this is a quick play spell card.
This is a very terrible omelet I've ordered.
It's a spicy omelet. Quick play spell card. Special summon one Salamangreat monster from your hand, but negate its effects. Then, immediately after this effect resolves, link summon one Salamangreat Link monster, I should say, using materials you control, including the summon monster. This turn, Link summon monsters can't attack or activate their effects During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Salmon Great Link monster in your graveyard, return it to the extra deck. You only activate 1 per turn. This card is not bad in concept, but I can kind of see like where it is. Again, it's a card that's very fair, much like a Will of Fire. Like, it's very weird. I don't know if some of these were like coming out when Salmon Great was already like a pretty, you know, a lot of these are like 2019 printing, so I don't know if these were like after Salmon Great, you know, had their structure deck, their Soulburner structure deck and stuff. So like, maybe because they were part of TOS, they were already pretty meta, so they wanted to like put a few breaks in there. But like generally, I don't think you really need to run this because you already have plenty of monster cards that freely extend on their own, right? It's a neat concept, and I do like cards like this that let you, you know, possibly link summon on your opponent's turn, but it can't activate its effects, so it doesn't matter. You can't, like, blow up your opponent, you know? Or something. Literally, there's a Live Twin Trap card that does the same thing, but it doesn't have any of these restrictions. It's just, like, summon a Live Twin from your graveyard. I'd also be from hand. You can link. That's it. That's all it is. And it's just like, that card is also barely played, though it is funny. But let's move on to a card name that I'm sure everybody does know, or at least anybody who's ever played against this deck. The art is also really simple and straightforward. It is Salmon Great Circle. Salmon Great Circle, everyone. Drink some water, let the stream update.
Is this meant to be like one of the Konami orbs?
Yeah, probably. Like, it's a little weird, right? Because I didn't really think of the Salmon Greats as, like, sun-themed. I mean, they do have Sunlight Wolf, but that's about it. But yeah, this is a sun inside a bunch of concentric circles. Inside another thing that is vaguely orbacular. I don't know. I don't know. There's no trivia page, so. This one's almost too simplistic. It's just very nondescript. I'm just like, yeah. Yep, Circle. But yeah, Circle has been historically limited. It's a very good card. Very strong, chat. Very good card. Good bones. This is a quick play spell card that just says activate one of these effects. Either add a Salmon Great monster from your deck to your hand, or target a Salmon Great Link monster you control that was link summoned using a monster with the same name as material. That link monster is unaffected by monster effects this turn except its own. You can only activate 1 circle per turn. So on your turn, this is just your searcher. You activate it, you can search anything, add any guy. Or you can set it and wait for your opponent to do something, and then, you know, if you got the reincarnation effect, you can just be like, no, I'm unaffected. But also, you could, if you reincarnation effect, use it to block things like hand traps, and so on and so forth. Like, activate this in response to something like a Nibiru, an Effect Veil, or something like that. Like, your opponent thinks they're, like, critically boxing you out, and you just be like, no, I'm unaffected. So, really good little card to have. Very important, and like I said, the fact that it is both basically a forbidden spell, as in, like, you know, Droplet, Lance, Chalice, etc. kind of a thing, has those kinds of effects, but is also just your Rhoda. I understand why this was limited 1. Alright, chat, my sinuses are bothering me a little today. Our weather has been changing to be cooler, but it's going to be warmer for a couple of days, so.
You too have been affected by the temperature debuff.
Yeah. I'm going the other way, but until it settles down, you know.
And so the monkey paw curls.
If you're ever curious, by the way, I should say this for future reference. If you're ever curious why there's like a pause between cards or anything, chat, it's because Wikipedia has our best like archive of arts. Like they've got all the art scraped from Master Duel and stuff, and generally is a lot better than the fandom wiki, because it's not fandom wiki, but they have a lot of hosting issues. I didn't know this, actually. I know that they posted about it, but I didn't realize they were so closely related. But quite a few of the administrators and site webmasters at YG Organization also run Wikipedia, which is sometimes a slightly more noble effort. But they actually posted recently like a feedback survey about like, hey, don't put. By the way, the thing I'd like to complain about Wikipedia is the outages. They're working on upgrading their hosting, so hopefully they will get a little less bad in the future. But while I was yapping, that allowed this card art to load. It's Salamangreat Claw.
Okay, let's see. How simplistic is this going to be?
Not. This has Heat Leo on it.
What the fuck? Sorry, my first initial thought was he's just looking at his hands like, what the fuck?
He does kind of look like that, because this is like a... Okay, we've talked about busy cards before, right? This guy has a busy hand. This is not one Salamangreat Claw. He's got, like, I think, like, no joke, like a dozen claws or spikes on this thing. And also it's shooting a jet of fire like a cutting torch / lightsaber. This is the fucking Mega Man Battle Network 6 looking ass. Yeah. Heat Leo's already kind of janky.
I know this deck like the back of my hand. Oh, hey, that's new.
Well, it happens. Like, we talk about these. Marthos was saying he used it in one deck list. So, but yeah, the art's a little weird. Like Heat Leo, I was saying before, is already a little janky because you can see it with his face. He's got way too many sharp objects coming out of his face. And also he has giant, crescent moonblade shoulders. But the claw is just like a whole new level of like, what the fuck happened here? Anyway, Claw is an equip spell, thank God. If it wasn't an equip spell, I'd be very concerned. It says equip only to a Salamangreat monster. The equip monster can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. It does piercing. If the equipped monster is a Salamangreat Link monster you control, it was Link summoned using a monster's own material. During the battle phase, it can make attacks on monsters up to its Link rating. You can only control one. Again, because this is so searchable, it is a Salamangreat card. It is an equip spell. There's a lot of stuff that searches equip spells. Like, this isn't terrible. It's kind of a win more card. Like, I think generally Salamangreat has other ways to do what you want to do with this card. But it seems like a fun inclusion to just be like, nah, I can't be destroyed. Also, I do piercing. Also, I get a shitload of attacks. It's a card that allows you to do that thing we always talk about, chat. Like go back and listen to our episodes of Failed Portrayal. Sometimes we'll talk about decks that are competent, right? They have good strategies. They summon a lot of guys. The problem is those guys don't actually win you the game. Salamangreat Claw is a card that leads you towards winning the game. Even if your opponent, like, just chump blocks with 4, scapegoats. Hey, guess what? You have a Link 3 or a Link 4 guy who's been reincarnation Link summoned. You can get 4 piercing attacks. They're dead. There it is. Book of Eclipse your opponent's entire board so they're all face down, Link monsters can't be flipped face down, so, kill. It's a decent card. I would not say it's an optimal card, but that's okay, chat. You can make suboptimal decisions. And I do this all the time in fucking Dragon Maid, right? I could be running Bystials. I think I own one of every cool Bystial you're allowed to play. I'm fucking tired of those guys. They've been around for 5 years. I don't want to play any Bystials, so I don't. I play probably more copies of Laundry than I need to. Especially because that fucker she always mills the wrong cards, chat. It's always my fucking generic, hand traps and spell traps. The amount of times I've milled Max C off a Laundry Dragon Maid, I cannot tell you. But it's an important part of the system that I have, one of every name. Who knows? Maybe I just got... Hey, Chad, if this stream is shorter than usual, I'm not going to try and stretch it out. I got Final Fantasy Tactics: The Evilise Chronicles, so I have shit to do. I was going to joke about maybe Thursday I can stream some Dragon Maid gaming. Maybe later. I do want to do, a few more Thursday or other oddball streams to, flex it out there. We did do a poll. Some of you said you were interested in us streaming other games, not just Rogue Trader, but Rogue Trader is still very popular, so we're going to ride that ship until it crashes, burning and screaming into a Daemon planet.
I mean, yeah. When I peeked it, I'm like, oh, these are numbers compared to usual.
Yeah, the Rogue Trader does do numbers. We will, like I said, we talked about this at the start of the stream, but we finished running the poll. We will probably return to Sly 3, whenever we take a break from Rogue Trader, and at some point we will probably do more Great Ace Attorney and more other Ace Attorney games. Those were some of our previous most popular stream series. And obviously it requires a lot of effort. Lucky partway through Rogue Trader, 30 minutes in, was like, shit, I gotta stop doing voices. It's hurting me. And it's like, yeah, that's GAC as well. But it certainly is a thing I think we can get invested in. But yeah, I might try and arrange a bonus stream someday to hit you. Maybe Lucky and I have talked about this. Depending on the news, we might not record Let's Talk FGO this week. If there's really nothing going on in both EN and JP to talk about, we'll just do some other stuff and yap about whatever was going on in our week, during Rogue Trader or whatever other streams we're doing. But if that does happen, maybe Friday or Saturday, I'll throw you guys an extra bone. We'll do another Master Duel stream. Because like I said, I do really like the Dragon Maid deck. Claw's good. It's a card that does stuff. Not the greatest stuff in the world, but it's doing something, and it doesn't stop you from doing the rest of your combo, unlike some of those other spell cards we talked about, where they're kind of you could only summon from the extra deck one more time. Oh, that's very funny. Chat being like, oh, laundry cleans your hand traps. Yeah. Honestly, I'll say this about Dragon Maid. Not that we need to relitigate it, but I could. All the human form, the small maids, all those cards are actually good. They're more situational, but I think with the way that, what the deck does now, with all of its current legacy support, all of them do something good for your deck to, extend and get you extra material and other shit going on. The main problem, I think, is that the big Dragon Maids, most of them are not very good. Nurse's big form is very good because she special summons. I think Laundry is Shuffleback, or is it Lorpar that's Shuffleback? It's Nudyarl or Lorpar. One of them shuffles back. That's okay. That's a situational DD Crow, but it's very situational. When I played the deck originally versus the Yugi Boys a lot, Tinkek's Honest type effect was very good. These days, it's not very good because the battle phase is super telegraphed. So, she's kind of, gotten less good. Chamber's big Dragon Maid form is pretty good. That summon back a Dragon Maid from your graveyard or banishment is pretty important. But I think it is Lorpar is target and effect monster. It's effect cards with that card's name's effect can't be activated that turn. That's the world's jankiest effect veiler. I don't think I've ever actually been in a situation to use her good. But you need to play one copy, because if you play Parlor at Normal Summoner, you can put Lorpar in the graveyard and immediately summon Lady's Dragon Maid, and then you're cooking. This next card art is also a little more detailed. This is Salaman Great Gift. Why is it called Gift? I'm not sure. But this card shows a couple of boys. It's Mir and... it is Falco, okay. Mir and Falco. Exploding out of a volcano, I guess. And, Mir is doing, a little baby JoJo pose, I guess. And what's he doing with his arms? Also, poor Meerkat, or just Mir, his arms are just triangle claws.
I was about to say, I thought it looked like he's just pouncing from the explosion.
Probably, but they look kind of crossed over. If I had hands and feet like Mir did, I would also be doing that face. Yeah, I'm crazy.
Life is pain.
Actually, Loth, you'll get this. I can make it's just you and me here. I can make VTuber jokes. Well, the way you said that, I just wanted to be like, life is pain, Dio. In this economy, Dio.
I'm gonna rewatch that later on.
Oh, there's some good. There obviously, Let's Play Dio is like an all-time winner, but that is where Henya did say in this economy, Dio, and just like everybody's not okay. It's so funny.
Just hearing Ray be exposed to Henya and him going, I love the kettle noises, and it's like he gets it immediately. He gets it.
Yeah, no, he's there. He got it. It's great. No. But yeah, Salamangreat Gift is a continuous trap that says you can discard a Salamangreat monster, send a Salamangreat monster from your deck to your graveyard, then draw a card. If you control a Salamangreat Link monster that was Link summoned using a monster with the same name and material, you can discard a Salamangreat monster, draw 2 cards. You can only use 1 effect per turn only once that turn. Honestly, the main problem is that this is a continuous trap, so setting it up is a little rough, but I think this has utility. People probably don't play it in modern deck lists because it's a continuous trap, but this is the kind of card that I like to tuck into decks at, like, 1 as a just-in-case. Just because, like, on the one hand, first of all, it's like you do only normally draw 1 card. But, like, you draw a card and you put 2 cards in graveyard. Depending on what cards they are, that can be very good to foolish, some stuff. Or you can just do a like, +1 draw. If you're going first, right, you'd play your whole combo, everything out there. You can activate hand traps too most of the time. Some of them you can't, but, like, you could flip this up and just be like, okay, cool, I'm just going to go fishing for something. I'm just going to see if I can fish for cards that are good. Like, very solid card, but probably not a, what would be the right word? Outstanding card. Like, it's good, but not great. Which is ironic, because it's Salamangreat. Alright, here's one of the 2 cards, both of which start with R. But Salamangreat have 2 spell traps that you've, after Circle, and the field spell, obviously. Actually, I should say this. They have 2 specific trap cards you've probably heard of. If you've heard of only 2 spell cards, you've probably heard of Sanctuary, the field spell, and then Circle. But they've got a couple of trap cards, which are also very iconic. Which is funny because they're, like... How should I say this? Oh, well, I'll preface to chat. They probably already know. But to let you know what I'm talking about, it's Rage and Roar. These are pretty common archetypal card effects. But because Salamangreat can kind of, recycle spell traps and the like, they are very strong. So first is Rage. Rage comes before Roar. And there's actually a card in between the 2, but we will talk about it. This is just, what's his face? Sunlight Wolf. Yeah, this is just Sunlight Wolf, who I also am pretty... Is it Sunlight Wolf or Heat Leo? Martha will know in the chat. Is it Sunlight Wolf or Heat Leo who cycles back the spell cards?
Why am I getting fucking Dark Law vibes from this? From this pose?
Yeah, no, with the pose and the color scheme, it is very much like Dark Claw. He is dark and he has a claw. But one of your Link monsters, it is Wolf. Okay, so that's... I thought it was Wolf, but I wanted to be sure. That's very funny that it's Wolf that lets you recycle your spell traps. Because Wolf is on this spell trap that you're going to recycle. Why are you going to recycle it? Well, chat, it's because you can activate one of these effects. Either send a Salamangreat monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard, target a card on the field, destroy it. So it's just, like, Raigeki Break, basically. Or target a Salamangreat monster you control that was Link summoned using a monster material. Destroy a card your opponent controls up to that monster's Link rating. You can only activate 1 Salamangreat Rage per turn. So, yeah, this is basically your archetypal kind of, like, Geki Break or Icarus Attack type card. Except that if you specifically control a monster that was Reincarnation Link summoned, this is a much spicier pop. Again, it's probably pop 2, pop 3, maybe pop 4. And it's just absolutely... If you're using the Link Monster effect, you don't have to tribute that guy or send them to Graveyard. So, like, damn. That's basically free destruction. And even if you don't have the Link Monster, even if you just set Rage, you still get to just pitch a guy from hand to pop 1, which can already be, like, a really good interruption.
Spicy.
Yeah, just a critically timed pop 1 of any card on the field. So, like, if it's a spell card, like, that has to activate because it's continuous, you can just be like, oh, well, you're activating your field spell first move. Okay, we're going to Rage that right now. Like, it's a very good form of interruption that, if your opponent holds it right, can be very punishing. And like I said, if they're playing their deck right, they can recycle this. So this card is actually spelled this way. Sorry, I typed out the name of this card, and I was like, did I misspell this? No. Our next card after Roar is going to be called Salamangreat Recurrence. Not Recurrence, which has a double consonant in it. Recurrence. Ooh, yes, that's actually a good point. Chat is saying, also bringing up that Rage, you can use that first effect where you send from field to dodge stuff. So if you've got it activated and your opponent tries to, like, imperm you early or something, you can just be like, no. Like, you activate an effect and they try and imperm, you can be like, no, I'm not there. I pulled that off in a duel the other day with Dragon Maid. I played Downtime, which is their continuous trap that you don't normally play, but it lets you return a Dragon Maid monster from the field to search a card. So my opponent tried to imperm my ladies, and I just went, no. I was doing the fusion effect. They were like, imperm, and I'm like, no, I'm gone. I'm not here. Dodged. Also summoned a big dragon lady. I think I summoned Regis Philia. But yes, Rage is like a crazy good card. Both of its effects are good. Sorry, we're getting a 5-2. Oh, hold on. We've gotten a second 502 error. It's going to refresh again. I guess I'll retweet some stuff in the meantime.
While we wait for it to load back up.
There you go. Okay. God, sorry. I forgot this is what this fucking card art is. Ugh. Oh, boy. Okay. Recurrence, chat. It has the 2 foxes we don't like on it. Looking even more dog-like, except with centipede tails than ever. This is a card that could be good, but I feel like is a little too weird. But also, the card art is just... I don't even know, man.
Hold on, let me get a better look at that. What the fuck? Do you want to enter their fairy circle? What am I getting from this?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they're being summoned out of the circle because this is a normal spell that says target 2 Salamangreat monsters in your graveyard with different names, add them to your hand. If this set card is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add a Salamangreat spell trap from your deck to your hand, except Recurrence. You can only use each effect of Recurrence once per turn. So, like, it's not terrible to, like, add 2 cards back to hand, you know, to reset. I don't know. It just doesn't... This doesn't feel like a great extender. And, like... Schmuckbait is funny. There are quite a few cards that work like that. You know, set cards are destroyed. And you can destroy it yourself, you know, if you have some way to do that. But in general, I don't know. It just feels too weird. This doesn't feel great. And it's not just because the card art is goofy. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know, man. You can already add spell traps pretty easily. Is the spell trap I add off it being set going to be, like, useful? Yeah, I guess it's, like, for, like, if you're playing Rage and you have more link rating than you want to pop, but, like, just play better cards. Fucking play Waking the Dragon, then. But our next card was the card art that was our thumbnail art last time. This is the other iconic spell trap, Roar. In case you forgot was in our thumbnail last time, Roar, chat, is also kind of silly. Because it is Heat Leo, Emerald Eagle, and Violet Chimera roaring. And also... I don't know. There's something about the coloring and the art style that feels a little different in this. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm watching like the lead up to like the Megazord combining sequence in like a Power Rangers season with all of the budget woes that includes. Just like, I don't know. There's something very weird about this. Also, Heat Leo has real teeth in his mouth. I don't like this. He got a little, you can see little pointy little teeths in there. I think he might even have a tongue, too. That's not okay. His hands are still fucked up. They're lion guns. They're gun lions.
I don't like it.
No, I don't. I agree. I do not like this card art. I do not like this card art up close. It's very weird. Like, I mean, I get the idea we're going for. It's 3 of the big boys standing together, roaring, but a lot of these guys already had, like, really complicated geometry, so seeing 3 of them together in the same scene with speed lines and, like, the erupting volcano, I'm just like, no, I don't think I like it.
It would have been better
if we like this.
Was it Heat Leo was like, you know, kind of hunched over, his head pointed downwards? This angle was not flattering.
No, yeah. Unfortunately, this is even more so than Rage. This is probably the card you've seen. This is a counter trap that says, when a spell trap card or monster effect is activated while you control Sound Great Link monster, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. While this card is in your graveyard, if a Sound Great Link monster is link summoned to your field using a monster same name as material, you can set this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use 1 effect per turn, and only once that turn. But yeah, this is the archetype counter trap that already has a built-in reset condition. So even if you don't do Heat Leo to loop it back, there's a decent chance you can still loop it back. Like, not the nastiest archetype negate, but super easy to set up. Just control a Salamon Great Link monster. And like I said, it has the intrinsic ability to come back later if you want to. This card is annoying as hell. This can be a real rough time to play through. These days, the concept, I feel like, of the archetype counter trap has, like, gone to the wayside. Not a lot of decks bother to do it exactly like this anymore. This is one of the all-time greats. Better, I think, than the hieratic one, which, required you to tribute a guy. Yes, you plus off that, but still. This is just like, you got a Link monster? Yeah, no. Because it banishes itself, you don't usually use the reset effect. It's just so funny that it has a built-in reset effect. You just choose not to use it. But yeah, no, this is why cards like Barone and Borreload Savage Dragon and Appaloosa get banned, is because instead of having to play an archetypal spell trap card to do this, or a monster card, you play a non-archetype spell card or monster card that does it in the extra deck. War is pretty solid, yes. It's one of those cards that for sure I would want in my end board if I was playing Salad. Like I'd like a Roar around to do a little work, and then maybe if it comes back up, we'll reset it. But yeah, so they have all of these are, like I said, quite searchable. You have an archetype basically like Big Pop, and you have an archetype, Omni Negate. Both of which are pretty good. You have decent ways to get him back. You have decent ways to search him. All right, now let's look at some art that is, once again, pretty simple but pretty good as well. It is Salamangreat Great Transcendence. Or just Salamangreat Great Transcend in the OCG. I've also realized that this, like, you could argue, like, Emerald Eagle and some stuff like that, but there's not really, like, an exact... There's no monster that this kind of, like, Phoenix or Firebird corresponds to, which is interesting. He's just kind of vibing.
I mean, considering the previous picture, I'd much rather this.
No, this is much better, yes. Like, it's simplistic, but it's very good. This Firebird is aura farming. And that aura is fire. But this is one of the other ways you can do the reincarnation summon in game. This is a quick play spell card that says target a Salamangreat Link monster you control. Special summon a Salamangreat Link monster with the same name for your extra deck using that monster you control as the entire material. This is treated as a Link summon. You can only activate one Salamangreat Transcendence per turn. So, hey, you have a quick play that lets you reincarnation, including possibly on your opponent's turn. So you can do it with Pyro Phoenix and blow the whole fucking board up. No, this is a good card. It's probably like a tech option you only play like one or two of, but this is a pretty good card to be playing just because it lets you do that shit on your opponent's turn. Yeah, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. The super reincarnation Link summon is like... We're just trying to make it sound cool. It's like the actual Axel Synchro was supposed to be something, but then they added extra words to that with like double Axel and like clear over top Synchro and stuff like that, which are supposed to be different, but ultimately it's all Synchro summoning, chat. Axel, I think isn't Axel Synchro specifically synchroing with a Synchro monster? Or is it you have to use a Synchro tuner in the anime? I don't remember. But yeah, Transcendence, good card. Does the thing.
Yeah. It does what you pay for. I said the thing.
Here's another classic spell trap that you've probably heard of. It's their continuous spoilers. This one also has Heat Leo in it, pretty sure, but he's in silhouette, so it's better. This one's also interesting. So this continuous spell card is called Will of the Salamangreat. In the OCG, it's just Salamangreat Hato. Salamangreat Heart. But yeah, it's Heat Leo in a Fire Tornado.
And I know it's like the main guy, but they really do fucking love Heat Leo.
Yeah, it's very funny. I believe Heat Leo was supposed to be the ace, but we already have Pyro Phoenix, which is the higher link rating card. He's bigger, he's badder. But yeah.
Sorry.
Will of the Salamangreat. Good card. So, this is a continuous spell card that says, during your main phase, you can special summon one Salamangreat monster from your hand or graveyard. Just free extension. Also, you can send this face-up card from your field to the graveyard, then target a Silent Great Link monster you control that was Link summoned using a monster of the same name and material, blah, 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 if you're reincarnation Link summoned. Basically, special summon Silent Great monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position up to that monster's Link rating. You can only use one effect per turn, only once that turn, so you do have to pick whether you're going for, like, a big summon back or you're just extending. But that makes this card super flexible because it can either be, like, an early extender to set up your combos, or it can be a way... Once you're already deep in the combo, you can be like, also, by the way, Will of the Salamangreat, I'm going to summon 3 guys back. I can make anything. Well, yeah, Heat Leo is not as good as some of these guys, some of these other guys. Alright, I'm loading the next card. I am going to run away again. This time I will not force Loth to talk to you, chat. I will mute and definitely Discord real quick.
Yay!
I will be right back. But we'll be schmoovin' right away, so you're... Alright, we're already back, chat. Put my headphones back on. Okay. We're fully back. This card is loaded. Yes, but I came back. I'll pull up the next card art. Ugh, trying not to yawn too hard. Oof. Alright, chat. It's like cold weather is getting to me. Alright. So that was our last normal spell trap. We are now going to talk about future legacy support. The legacy dimension. First up is Salamangreat of Fire.
What the? Sure.
So I'll get a comparison point. You're like, what is this? Well, I'll tell you what it is. Besides just a little gooble gobble. Look at the gallery art. But this guy's probably related to one of our little Ignister guys, because it looks a lot like Achichi. And if you don't know, Achichi, Ignister is the one that's probably based on the automatopoeia for Hatatata. So, yeah, Salamangreat of Fire is just looks a lot like Aichichi, but with more fire and some armor. But clearly meant to be bringing together those Ignises. So, the Salamangreat of Fire is level 2 Fire Cybers. It has 800 attack and 800 defense. This card's normal or special. Add a level 4 lower Salamangreat from your deck to your hand, except Salamangreat of Fire. but you can't special summon for the rest of this turn except fire. At the start of the damage step, if a cyber spawns you control battles, you can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy that monster you control. You can use each effect once per turn. The destroy effect is trickier, but it does let you set up some very funny things. But the main thing is that this is just another extra free extender. Yeah, he's based off the Flame Eganist, the Flame AI, the Fire AI, I should say.
Yeah.
Whose name was Flame. Flame name. But yeah, Salmon Grade of Fire is a pretty good extender. Like I said, it's no other special, it's a Rhoda. That fire locks you, but who fucking cares in the Year of Fire? And the ability to destroy the monster you control effect actually is good, because several of your guys do have, like, effects of being destroyed by effect rather than battle. So it's a decent little extender. And this came out in this is one of the later supports. This is still a couple of years old, but newer. This came out in the Legendary Duelists Soul Burning Volcano, so this was like targeted support in a set all about them. But still has some use as just a pretty decent extender. God, I forgot about this guy. I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? It's a shame Dallas isn't here, because he would love to look at this card and just be like, ah. So we're pulling up Salmon Great Tiger. We have asked in previous questions, you know, does the artist of Salmon Greats know what a monster, X monster looks like? I have to ask if they know what a tiger looks like. Because
remember, I think it was last week I made the joke about Loda Leomon. This is even more so. Like, what the fuck?
that was my other backup joke, is that this is truly just a Digimon. Like, he has weird, like, pyramids on his joints, like on his shoulders and back leg joints. He's got weirdly boxy arms and legs. This one's weird. Like, it's not bad, it's just really weird. Why does he have, like, dinosaur teeth?
What are we expected to do with this information?
It's also, like, black and white. Although, apparently, its name was Salmon Great Tiger, with 2 E's. Or it was translated that way. No, it's Tiger. Salmon Great Tiger. This one is a funny one because this is your tuner. Remember, everybody got that thing that happened where they got access to other extra deck and main decks with rituals. So I'm pretty sure that a Salmon Great Synchro did not actually show up in the show, but there was an option for it, so we've gotten here. Salmon Great Tiger is a Fire Cyber's tuner, level 5, 2000 attack, 500 defense. You can discard one other Salmon Great card to special summon this card from your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. This card you control uses a synchro material for a fire monster. You can treat it as a non-tuner. Once per turn, you can increase or decrease this card's level by 1. Honestly, if you're going to give your archetype kind of a high-level tuner bolted on at the last minute, or not even necessarily the last minute, but, you know, this was, again, Legendary Duelist Soul Burning Volcano. This is all pretty good. Free special summon. You can choose it as make it a non-tuner. You can increase or decrease its level by 1. It's good. It's all the stuff, yeah. So, yeah, we're talking about Tiger. Weasel is next. But, yeah, Tiger is a weird-looking guy. It's good that they have this tuner, like I said. I think it's a good card. It's just I'm a little bamboozled by the art. But yes, we have another tuner. I give him 2. It's Weasel is next. This card's still a little weird, but is better. Like, I like his color scheme. Another thing I was going to say about Tiger. Tiger's kind of like black and white, but in like a weird like off black and off white kind of color. So it's like, I don't know. Weasel looks a little bit better.
Looks very bottom heavy, but
yeah,
I guess that's by design.
He's got a big long weasel tail. It's also clearly some kind of gun or something. Ooh, sorry. Got a little water stuck in my airway. But no, like, obviously, like you said, he's very bottom heavy, but it's intentional. And he's got other cuteness to his design. Like, I like his hands, his front paws. Kind of big and playful. So this is a Fire Cyberus Tuner. Like I said, level 3, 700 attack, 1400 defense. And if you have 2 more Salamangreats in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If a Salamangreat, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster is special summoned to your field while this card's in your graveyard, target one other Salamangreat card in your graveyard. Place this card at the bottom of your deck. If you do special summon that card back, or special summon that card to your opponent's field, then draw 1. You can then you can only use each effect once per turn. So this is a case of the like summon to your opponent's field thing. I get what they're going for. Obviously, several of the monsters you have require to target your opponent's cards for interaction. Obviously, we talked about Burning Draw earlier, but several of your other like big guys like have to interact with opponent's cards to be optimal, which makes going second tougher. Weasel obviously like lets you set that up, but only by summoning your own Salamangreat monsters. Most of which I'm pretty sure none of them actually have an effect where like they don't prevent you from summoning, just that some of them have effects that if they're summoned by or if they activate, you're fire locked, but that wouldn't work for your opponent. Pretty good leveling for this to be a 3. This means you can make 8, which is what I think all the Vrain's synchros are based around, being 8. You can make 8s pretty good with Tiger, because Tiger can be treated as a non-tuner. You can obviously use this to make 6s and 7s with all of your 3s and 4s in the deck. It's a level 3, so you can not use it as a tuner and just overlay it for Stalio. All in all, pretty good card. And having 2 guys in your graveyard is not hard. Yes, one of the Fire Fist synchros that's really good is the 6, so it's a good fit there. Now, I've mentioned before, some of these give me like weird like Mega Man X vibes.
I mean, yeah, that's very understandable.
This next one also very much so, because I have to be very particular when I say this card's name. Behold, this is Salamangreat Zebroid X. Yes. Salamangreato Zebroido Xu. The X is in there. And it is X, it's not key.
Jeez.
Yeah, no. Was this guy like in the anime and wasn't made yet? Because like this guy looks like an anime guy. Like its face is a little weird. It's very simplistic. Its color palette's kind of different. The kind of like beige or cream color and purple. Not sure how I feel about that. Also, he's supposed to be a zebra. He's barely striped. Like, there's kind of stripes on one of his legs and on his neck, but also those could just be, you know, armor plates. It's weird. It's a weird card.
It's, yeah, very weird and freaky.
Yeah, that's why I was asking if this is was like a weird anime card that they forgot to bring out and brought out later. I'm double checking the release date now. But this is a level 4 fire. Yeah, this was an Eternity Code. This is in like 2020. So in the same set that, you know, cards like Access Code Talker was coming out, and a few other, you know, guys, a couple of the Adignisters we talked about previously. Witchcrafters that are good. The Codebreaker Swordsman was also at code. So, like, a little earlier, but it seems like this was kind of like the space for like the tail end of Rain's anime support. But still, it's from a later post MR5 format. This is a level 4 Cybers monster, 1500 attack, 1000 defense. While this card's in your graveyard, if a Silent Great Link monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, except for any damage steps, special summon 2 level 4 Silent Great monsters from your graveyard, including this card, but negate their effects. If you do, immediately Xyz summon 1 Silent Great Xyz monster, using only those 2 monsters. You can only use the effect of Zebroid X once per turn. An Xyz monster summoned using this card on the field gains this effect. This card gains 300 attack for every material attached to it. So, like, first of all, I want to say this card's very weird. So in the TCG, this was released in 2020. Blaze Dragon, a card we also haven't talked about yet, but is next. Their rank 4 wasn't released until Ghosts from the Past 2 years later. So this card literally useless for like 2 years. Yeah. So in the anime, it was just a way to get out Blaze Dragon. This card literally is only designed to get out Blaze Dragon. We'll pull up Blaze Dragon now. Seems really weird. I think there's a lot of good level 4 extension you can do. It's funny, but I remember Blaze Dragon not being quite as, like, crazy good as, like, Stalio for the deck. He looks pretty cool, though. Here's Blaze Dragon. Looks a lot like Violet Chimera, but he's a little more kind of, like, bluish-black. Very dark red flames, which is pretty good for an Xyz monster.
I mean, yeah, he looks pretty nice.
So this was in the special special pack, yeah. So it took a while to bring over. Yeah, Blaze Dragon looking pretty cool. We like him. It's a rank 4 fire Cybers Xyz. 2300 attack, 1200 defense. It is completely generic. Again, kind of like even when they did release it, meaning you don't really have to go all through the whole Zebroid thing. If this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, attach 1 material from it instead. During the battle phase, if this card has no materials, you can special summon from your extra deck 1 Silent Great Xyz monster using this card as material. You don't need this effect once per turn. If this card is Xyz summoned using Blaze Dragon as material, you can destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. So, yes. This card is nice. It is, like, I think it's valid to put it in your extra deck. I would not play Zebroid X just to have a way to make this guy. He is a fun little, like, blocker, because, like I said, it's destroy by battle or card effect. It can detach 1. And then also, during your opponent's turn, or during the battle phase, sorry, if it has no materials, you can use it to overlay and pop. So, like, it's a great way to, like, stall out your opponent. You might play, like, 2 in the extra deck to specifically do that line if the space isn't too tight. Salmagrid has a lot of tight space in there, but yeah. Yeah, it's because it was in a side set, so the TCG had to figure out where that import would go. And the OCG put Zebroid X in a core set. Something we didn't talk about, we could have done a little new cards PogChamp, but the TCG has announced their next Maze set, Maze of Muertos, which they announced like around Day of the Dead, but is going to be in March, so it's not going to be anywhere near Day of the Dead or Halloween. But in addition to importing the Mikanko, Dark Magician, and I forget what the other deck in that Tridex was. Hero, that's right, Masked Heroes. How could I forget? But in addition to importing those, it's going to have several new support cards, including new Bones/Pumpkin King of Ghosts support.
Huh?
Yeah, we're bringing back Pumpkin. There's going to be a Pumpkin Retrain. There's going to be a field spell. You're going to have the ability to set Call of the Haunted, so it's also Call of the Haunted X archetype. There's going to be a new rank 6 for Pumpkin, for zombies, and a new rank 7, which is going to let you attach material from either graveyard.
We're going to get a new Princess Pumpkin?
Unknown. They did not preview that card specifically, but I suspect that she'll probably go in the archetype somewhere. But yeah, it looks like we're giving zombies some some Xyz zombie interplay specifically, but also a very funny way to like let you summon back Call of the Haunted, or get back Call of the Haunted, letting you set them, you know, like 3 of them from your deck, letting you activate them right away, giving you bonus effects, kind of a thing. Just like kind of like nostalgia layering, but in a cool way, because like Call of the Haunted is kind of a staple, so like a deck based around turboing it out is not like bad, especially because it is a continuous trap, you know, otherwise. But yes, Blaze Dragon is okay. It's an okay card.
Yeah.
He looks pretty cool, but he's only okay. Here's another guy who looks pretty cool. This is their Synchro. Their Synchro monster is Salamangreat Bursto Griffin. He's blue and white. Unfortunately, he is stricken by Konami Orb Disease, but it's not terminal. I'm not a huge fan of his hands, or at least no, his one hand. His other hand looks normal. The other one, like the positioning of like the talons, is weird. I don't know why he's doing that. That looks painful. Gonna activate his carpal tunnel. But he's blue and white.
Yeah. Sorry, I know I don't have much to add with these Salamangreat cards, other than it looks alright. It's a Digimon and there's fire. It feels like that sums up my entire feeling about the archetype. Because there's so fucking many of them.
Yeah. This is the back half, by the way, Chad, and we've been here for over an hour and a half. He looks like he's about to throw down a freeform wrap. Thank you. But this is their archetype Synchro. It's an 8, like I said. Fire, Synchro, Cybers, 8, 2800 attack, 2000 defense. Completely generic, 1 tuner, 1 or more non-tuner monsters. Target a level 7 or lower fire monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If you do, reduce this card's level by that monster's level. And you can't special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except fire. If this card's Synchro summoned using Burst Griffin as material, you can activate this effect during the standby phase, special summon a monster from your graveyard. You can use each effect once per turn. So, basically the way Burst Griffin works is, you can use Burst Griffin to basically summon back the tuner that was used to make it, assuming it was a fire tuner, and you can immediately Synchro into a second copy, which lets you, during the next standby phase, special summon a monster from your graveyard, which can be very useful to recycle certain guys. But also could be nothing. You're kind of really calling your shot on if the standby phase summon is going to matter. But it can be a good way to get guys back on board. And it also works because, like, if you, for instance, target a level 4 monster, summon it back, well, now you have 2 4s. So you can overlay, which could let you, you know, go an Xyz line if your levels didn't match up before, which they probably didn't if you were playing Synchro. So it's a cool card, but it kind of feels like it feels like we're just, you know, what's the word, like filling out a form. You know, we're just bubbling all our options in. It's like, well, they need a Synchro monster, so we'll give them a Synchro Burst Griffin. Unlike the Firewall Synchro monster, Firewall Saber Dragon, that guy's pretty cool. Burst Griffin is all right, but I feel like reading it, it's just kind of like, yeah, we need a Synchro, so here's a Synchro. Yeah, like chat's saying. He's a cool, like I said, cool in concept. Not really doing a lot for the archetype other than giving you, like, yet another thing you can do. I guess what all these cards do, you have your Fusion, your Xyz, your Synchro, etc., is that, like, they give you something to do if your opponent was playing Dimensional Barrier before it was banned, and they called, like, Xyz or Synchro or something, but you can't even debarrier your Link monsters, so who fucking cares? Now, let's talk about a card that, if I am correct, I think is pretty good. This is also in Soul Burning Volcano. They added Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. So we took Pyro Phoenix, but we made him Raging. We made him better. His upgraded form. Which also, like, again, talking about how Pyro Phoenix looked kind of Super Sentai. Raging Phoenix is definitely like the upgrade to like your Mecha Show or your Super Sentai or whatever. At the end of the show, the most superest form.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
So much extra gold trim. I think his head wings are even bigger. It's not bad, but he's very clearly like a guy with extra shit drawn on him. Hold on a second, chat. I'm gonna blow my nose. That means I'm gonna mute up.
Here it
Okay.
is. I had to go looking for something because this reminded me of a very specific fucking Power Rangers / Super Sentai form.
Of course it did. Of course it did.
Even though I'm not a big Super Sentai, I've seen this in passing. I just had to share it because Jesus fuck.
Oh yeah, this is Samurai. God, I forgot. This is what like the battleizer mode was, the extra crap. How big is this image? Yeah. Man.
When I clicked on the image, it tried to go to a different website, so I had to just grab it as is.
That's okay. It's still pretty decently sized. Well, we're gonna adjust. Okay, and then we're gonna a little too short. That's all right. All right. Oh, no, a little more, a little back. There you go, chat. Now you're that guy. I hope you're having fun.
Oh no.
So, Sound Like Great Raging Phoenix is like I said, a retrain of Pyro Phoenix. It's a Fire Cyber Link 4. It's got 1 forward-facing arrow and all the back arrows. 2900 attack, Link rating 4, like I said. 2+ fire effect monsters. If this card is Link summoned using Sound Like Great Raging Phoenix's material, add a Sound Like Great card from your deck to your hand. If a face-up fire monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, will list cards in your graveyard. Target one of those monsters. Special summon this card. If you do, it gains attack equal to that monster's attack. You can use each effect once per turn. So this is why, what's his face? Sound Like Great of Fire lets you blow up your own guys. Because basically, you can blow up your guy, summon back Raging Phoenix, target that monster, and then have it basically double its own attack. Its reincarnation effect is not as impressive, but it does mean you have a Raging Phoenix that was properly summoned in your graveyard, so you can then set up the loop to just, blow out your opponent. So it's a pretty useful card. I don't know if it replaces like straight up Pyro Phoenix, because Pyro Phoenix you get to blow up your opponent's board if you reincarnation link it. But it's still a pretty good card to have at least one copy of, and you can do some other stuff there. Yeah, it would be nice if they gave the major iconic characters some extra Link 5s. Like, obviously, there's a Link 5 Boral. There's several Ad Ignister Link 5s, technically, because you've got Allied Code Talker, Ad Ignister, and so on. Like, it'd be nice if we could get some bigger guys. There are also generic Link, a couple of generic Link 5s. We do have 2 spell traps. And then we'll be done with Salmon Gray, and we'll run through the topologics very fast.
Please save us.
So first is Salmon Gray Charge. It's some Salmon Gray's charging. Specifically, it's Gazelle, Almirage, and oh god, what was it? Was it just like Bison? Buffalo? Beat Bison. That's right. I was like, it was something extra. Beat Bison. Play the Mega Man X4 intro music. Da 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 da. Beat Bison. But yeah, Charge was added in, might be in Soul Burning Volcano. Yeah, okay, so in 23. So again, by the way, so this whole deck was a structure deck. It was meta viable in TOS. Went through like a whole thing of being like the third best deck for several years. Like everybody's, was the second best deck. So Konami didn't give it legacy support until 23, the Year of Fire. Charge is a quick play spell card that says activate one of these effects. Target 3 of your fire monsters that are banished from your graveyard. Shuffle 2 of the 3 into the deck. If you do, special summon the remaining monster, but its effects are negated and it can't attack. If you control a fire Ritual Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster whose attack is different than its original attack, target a card in the field destroyed. You can use each effect once per turn. It's okay.
Yeah. It's alright.
I like that they're trying to give you options so you're not just, like, playing the same shit over and over again. But this deck has, Rage. Why would I pop one? I guess it's, like, supposed to set up for, like we said with, like, Raging Phoenix, like, OTK stuff. Like, have your own monster blow itself up, summon back a guy, gain attack, blow up your opponent's monster because you have different attack from your original attack. But the shuffle 2 back, summon a guy is like pretty decent. Graveyard and banishment recovery is like very good. This deck does have some limitations in that regard. Would I play it? I don't know. I'd have to check the ratios. But it seems pretty good. Anyway, that bird is back.
Hey, it's that bird.
Yeah, for Salmon Great Revive. Which I think is Salmon Great Revival in the OCG. But Salmon Great Revive works. Revivabu. So it's that, Firebird guy coming back. He's doing it again. This is a pretty simple normal trap that just says, target a fire monster in your graveyard, special it. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target a Salmon Great. You control a monster in your graveyard with the same name, shuffle the monster from the graveyard in, and if you do, that monster gains attack equal to its original attack until the end of the turn. You can use each effect once per turn. Just another way to double your attack, basically. If you've got a reincarnation guy, you just send back the other guy. This is probably a pretty good card that you want to play at a few copies, just because it gives you, multiple plays. And you can use both effects in the same turn. It's just you can only use each effect once per turn. So, you can use this to summon a guy back, put it in your graveyard, and be ready to send back a guy to double attack. Has a variety of uses. Actually, that's a good one. Chad bringing up to pull up Promethean Princess. I don't think we've talked about her. It's probably a good idea to talk about her because she was kind of the iconic card of the Year of the Fire. Just kind of, a really weird one. So this is one of the few cards that was... they've done this a couple of times. They designed it to be released in Master Duel, and then it was released in the OCG. They basically revealed it right before the set came out. They've only done this with Hallow and Ween before. And now with all the new BES stuff, which we will talk about probably later. We'll see if the BES wins the poll. But those have a bunch of cards that were, immediately announced, described, and then were released in the TCG, and then also available in Master Duel right away. A weird niche, but sure. But Promethean Princess is definitely one of those cards that was part of that. Oh, it's the Year of Fire. Released in Phantom Nightmare in 2024. So it took a while for her to come out in the TCG around the same time as the Duelist Pack. So, yeah, the support card in Master Duel came out later. But Promethean Princess is just good in a lot of fire decks. She's a Fire Link 3. She has a T-shaped arrows. 2700 attack, which is pretty high for a Link 3 now that I think about it. 2+ effect monsters. You can't special summon except fire. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. During your main phase, special summon a fire in your from your graveyard. If a monster special summon to the opponent's field with its cards in your graveyard, target a fire monster you control and one monster your opponent controls, destroy them, and if you do special summon it. If you're playing a fire deck, she's just really annoying because she, like, if you make a Link 3, you reborn a guy, you can make a Link 4. Which, if you're not playing Salamangreat, is, like, exactly Amblo Whale. They did come out with some better generic Link 4s that are fire, but, like, in Salamangreat, you can make real Link monsters. And then have this card in your graveyard so she can summon herself back by blowing up one of your opponent's plays. It's very funny. So this card was out in the year that they debuted Mimighouls. That was also 24. That was last year. And so everybody was like, oh, Mimighoul Charm's bad. What if you snatch their Promethean Princess? It turns out that, hey, chat, what'll happen is just people will stop playing fire decks.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually what happened. Like, I've been running Charm basically since Mimighoul came out in Master Duel. I almost never hit a guy that's a problem. Like, decks just aren't running it anymore. It's one of those weird things that's like, it did mean that, yes, Mimighoul Charm was probably not a great pick for that meta, but was probably a good side deck card. It's just funny to think about these statements of, like, everybody read the card and was like, this is bad. What if I hit Promethean Princess? Or some other card that firelocks me, and it's just like, you're so short-sighted. You're just gonna... people play other decks. But yes, this is kind of like...
Short-sighted and Yu-Gi-Oh! Players go hand in hand.
It's almost like reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing Zealantis stuff is also annoying. That's a story for a different time. Sorry, we're not doing any more Magic the Gathering episodes for a while, but some more Avatar previews are coming out. Somebody just threw in the chat that there is a Walls of Ba Sing Se, which is a wall, which is a classic type of MTG monster. It's a 0/30 wall.
That's a big fucking wall.
Yeah, it's very funny. But let's run through the Topologics real quick. There's 4 of them out right now, and then 1 more of them that's being previewed. And then we'll get out of here. And I'll go back to beating up goblins and wolves in a field.
Funny enough, I'll probably be doing the same, but in a different game.
Yeah. So the Topologics are weird. I don't really know if they have, like, any consistent theme. Most of their names are, like a lot of Cyberse monsters, named after malware. Being called Topologic, it's based on a logic bomb. Topology is that the yeah, topology is the branch of math associated with knots and coiling space, so that's why this guy is weird. His tail is a Mobius strip. He's got like a weird trifoil knot in his hand. So just lots of weird computer math stuff. He's a weird computer math guy. And I don't know what's going on with his eyeball.
Insert what I've been saying previously here. I'm sorry. It's literally just copy-paste at this point with these fuckers.
It is kind of just a Digimon. Network topology, by the way, also is the study of the arrangement of links and nodes in a comms network. So, like, again, lots of computer jargon. The topologics are not really an archetype, that they do have a couple of support cards that are clearly based on them. I mentioned this at the start of the show, but to remind everybody if you showed up late, they're very weird because we could have talk about them in Sorry, I just realized he's a little high. We could have talked
Rocket?
about them with Rocket and Dragon Link stuff, but these are all Dark Cyberses, so, like, they don't even work as boss monsters for that guy, even though they're his weird extra summon through the Storm Axis. He gets to just make them. So they're weird. But they are kind of generic extra deck boogeymen type cards. One of them's even fucking banned. We'll also switch our text box to say topologic. Bomber Dragon's annoying, but he's not the banned one. So, Bomber Dragon is a Link 4. He's got the forward and back arrows, 3k attack, 2+ effect monster, so super generic. If another monster is special summoned to a monster, a Link monster points to. Zone is point while this card's on the field, destroy monsters in the main monster zones, and also your other monsters can't attack for the rest of this turn. After damage calc, this card battles opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. It's just a really annoying guy. Like, you put him in the EMZ. If you summon a monster to a zone of Link monster points to, you get to blow up the board. If your opponent has a monster in the EMZ, you can attack it and do extra damage, or you can attack them directly. It's just a really annoying way to blow up the board. It does mean that unless your opponent has, like, whittled you down, it's probably not an OTK. Because they have to, like, even if they blow up a guy who's, like, you know, 29, you're still only taking, like, 3k damage total, you know? But yeah, it's still, like, super annoying to run into. Next, the banned one, which is a little funny because he has probably the silliest name. This is Topologic Gumblar Dragon. Gumblar
Yes.
Dragon. Also, honestly, compared to Bomber, pretty normal, pretty decent looking guy. If you don't know, a Gumblar is a type of malware. It's a type of Trojan horse. Specifically, it's called a Gumblar because it takes over your Google searches and redirects you somewhere fake. That's why it's Gumblar. Very funny. But this guy's banned because he's a hand rip card. Spoiler.
Yes.
Gumblar looping was a known factor in the old school days, and is not super fun. Like I said, his design is like Euclidean. Like, I understand what's going on here. He's got some weird, like, extra, like, stuff on his back, but, like, it's mostly covered, and he's just a weird loopy dragon. You know, maybe the perspective is a little weird. It also does look like his arms float. But that's cool. He's a floaty dragon.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's Link 4. He's got the cross-shaped arrows. 2+ effect monsters, 3k attack again. I think all these guys have like 3k attack except maybe the new one. Actually, no. Zero Boros is, I think, question mark, but we'll talk about that later. If another monster is special summoned to a zone a Link monster points to while this monster's on the field, discard 1 or 2 random cards. Your opponent discards the same number. During your main phase, if this card is extra linked and your opponent has at least 1 card in their hand, you can make your opponent discard 1 or 2 cards, whichever is higher. Then if they have no more cards in their hand, inflict 3,000 damage. You can only use each effect once per turn, only once that turn. And extra linking is specifically if a Link summon monster is summoned to a zone in the Link monster. So it is also what we call the U-Link or the V-Link. Extra linking is linking far enough that you can use your opponent's
Use both extra
use both EMZs. So Gumblar is like the first card to explicitly reference that. Basically, the way the Gumblar loop works is you basically put your opponent on 1 card because on your turn you do the combo to discard 2 cards, and then your opponent has to discard 2 cards, and then you just use Firewall Dragon and other shit to U-Link your opponent, and then you make your opponent discard 1 or 2 more cards. It says 1 or 2 cards, whichever is higher. So that leaves them on 1 card unless they had to discard for some other effect, in which case they're at no cards and they take 3k. So it's just very nasty to run this effect. You can hand rip a lot. Or you just set it up so you special summon on your opponent's turn and hand rip them the other 2, you know? It's just... It's a card that's really annoying, and even if it's randomized, it's still reliable. Like, it's ludicrously easy, chat, to summon to a zone a Link monster points to on both yours and your opponent's turn if your deck is built to do that. And guess what? Most Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks don't survive being forced to discard 4 cards on turn 1, basically.
No, they don't.
Like, it's just one of those things that, like, yeah, nah, hand rip sucks.
Like, it's not even a, like, card destruction where you draw back up what you discarded. No.
Yeah, no. It's not an empty jar type effect, yeah. Like Morphing Jar's back at 3. Card destruction, I think, is still at 1, just because it's, like, it is still pretty easy to fuck with people with card deaths. Because it you know, discards, then it's also a deep draw card for you, right? If you've got it set up right. Whereas Morphing Jar is a monster card, but it is, you know, both players draw 5. But still, like, empty jar type shit is different than this, which is just, oh, your opponent has to discard a couple cards. It'd be very funny, like, if Gumblar was legal, because it'd be very funny to run in Dark Worlds. Because it does say you discard, you randomly discard 1 or 2 cards, so, like, very funny to set up your own guys to discard. But that deck is already possibly a hand rip deck, so nah, leave him banned. Okay, no, I was wrong. Trisbana is also a Link 3. Interesting. Trisbana is also, like, I think, in between the amount of non-Euclidean that Bomber and Gumblar is. Here is Topologic Trisbana. Trisbana. Yeah, I'm gonna double-check what it is for. But, design-wise, he's got some weird, like, loopies and stuff. He's, like, clearly a dragon, but not a dragon, obviously, because they're Cyberses. But this looks like a very late-stage Gundam enemy.
Oh, sorry. I looked away and looked back up. Yeah, what the fuck am I looking at?
Okay. So this is an interesting thing. So it is named after a torus, which is the technical name for the shape that a donut is, and the Amphisbaena. Which the Amphisbaena is a Greek mythological creature, which has it's a winged snake, but it has a head where its head goes, and also has a head where its tail goes. So it's, you know, kind of a double-headed serpent. Now, why this guy is called Trisbana when he doesn't have 2 heads? Don't know. But he does have Tauruses.
They're just doing what the fuck they want.
Yeah. Also, I don't think this guy is, like, named after a malware, which is weird. Like I said, it's not a bad design. It's just very weird. And like, again, I imagine this as being some kind of evil Gundam boss. You know, like with, like, weird, you know, space magic portal generators in its limbs. Anyway, this is a Link 3, like I said earlier. It's got the front arrow and then the 2 back corners, 2,500 attack. Just 2+ effect monsters. If a monster special summoned to a zone this card points to, banish as many of those monsters as possible. Also, as many spell traps on the field as possible. If you do, inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each card banished by this effect. This guy is not banned, but is also really annoying. Because he is a burn card. More situational because he banishes back row, but he banishes monsters in back row and does burn damage.
And isn't afraid of anything.
Well, he's afraid of a guy with 2,500 or more attack. Just don't summon to a zone he points to. Kick your opponent's ass. Sorry, I'm making a little more real estate chat. I'm like, why are my images writing so high? It's because I think I've got the screen set a little too high, but there we go. Let's scoot you back in. All right. Our next one, probably the most famous one after the Gumblar loops. Like, Bomber and Trisbaena are useful, but this guy, you've probably seen him a few times because Zero Boros is a card that is good in a couple different decks. He has utility in a few things. It is... his name is probably clearly like Ouroboros, the snake that eats its own tail, and Zero, which references both mathematical concepts, the fact that there will be 0 monsters on the board, and also could be related to zero-day exploits, because they have a card literally called Zero-Day Blaster. This guy was in the structure deck Rocket Revolt in the Rocket structure deck, even though it's not necessarily a Rocketo monster. I don't know. This guy's kind of cool. He's weird, but it's a big, like, almost skeletal dragon, but he's, like, literally shaped like that trefoil symbol, like the 3 knots together. So he's a funny little guy, I think. But Zero Boros is another. Link 4. It has diagonals, not cross-shaped. 3,000 attack, 2+ effect monsters. You cannot summon or set monsters to any extra monster zone this card points to. You cannot use this to U-Link. Or V-Link, technically. They're just like, no. Because it only blocks the EMZ. Now, this does mean that you could, hypothetically, you know, like, lock yourself out of either EMZ if you have it there and send it out, but it's supposed to be in the EMZ itself. And it just says you, so, like, you gotta be careful about that. This card gains 200 attack for each banished card. If another monster is special summoned to a zone a link monster points to while this card's on the field, banish all cards on the field. Once during the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished by its own effect, special summon this banished card. So Zero Boros literally wipes the board, banishes all cards, comes back. When it comes back, it's gained 200 attack for each card that's banished. It's a good guy. I mean, hypothetically, you could probably put this on your opponent's, like, middle monster zone and, like, block out their EMZs, but then they have this big asshole.
Yeah.
Not worth it. Not worth it to lock out the EMZs in, like, a reverse U-Link, a 0 U-Link. But yeah, this guy's really fucking annoying. Like, if you don't get how this works, chat, like I said, it's very similar to the other guys, but instead of blowing up the board, he banishes the board, and then when he comes back, he's fucking big. This guy is another one of the secret boss monsters of Malice, because that's a banish deck about Dark Cyberses. So, yeah, you can make very big guys.
They fucking love that banishing.
Yeah. But there are a couple of spell traps that are associated with these guys. And then, like I said, there is one more guy that Konami has shown off for the next set. But first is, this is specifically a card that references their archetype. This is a continuous trap card called Detonation Code. It shows Trisbaena doing something cool.
Okay, that's not a bad shot of Trisbaena.
No, I think it's a pretty neat one. It's a good art, which is a shame that this card is just kind of meh. This is one of those anime Band-Aid cards. Remember how I said that, like, technically in the show, the Topologics are, like, Revolver's secret sauce, you know, the guy who plays Rocket. Yeah, you don't really play them together too much because Dragon Link often Dragon Locks you, so they built this card to kind of, like, try and set it up. So this says if you control a topological link monster, you can target a dark non-link dragon, machine, or Cybers monster in your graveyard. Special summon it. During the standby phase, after this card was banished from the spell and trap zone, you can set it. You use each effect once per turn. So obviously the return from banishment effect is so if you banish it with Trisbaena, it comes back. This just seems like it's a way for generic sort of like ways to play this with other stuff because Revolver used dragons, machines, and cyberses. So it's a band-aid to like let you play the archetype better. I guess it works if you're going all in on a topologic, but again, there's so many ways to special summon guys to zones. It really doesn't matter. A cool concept, but like topologics are not their own thing. Maybe, like I said, they could do those Topologina main deck monsters, which are also supposed to be Dark Cybers. They could like set something up. Those are supposed to go together, even though they aren't like strictly. They didn't do that in the anime, but it is still kind of a weird space. Yeah, Zeroboros is a funny guy. Zeroboros is probably the only one who still sees play. Like you might play Trisbaena in certain setups, but there's just so many decks that are like better at it. This is not necessarily a more flattering image of Zeroboros, but it's something. Our next one is Zero Day Blaster.
What the fuck?
If you don't know, guys, zero-day exploits or zero-day vulnerabilities are security flaws that are, like, pre-existing. Anyway, it's Zeroboros doing his ultimate attack, I guess, probably, but he's, like, on his back. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, Zero-Day Blaster is not really directly related, though you can obviously use it with the topologics, but Zero-Day Blaster is a normal trap that just says tribute a Dark Link monster, target cards in the field equal to its Link rating, destroy them. Chat, can you tell what the problem is with this trap card? What's wrong with it? What's wrong with that text I just read?
Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. And the answer is...
Yeah, well, chat hasn't attempted to answer, but that's okay. The answer is cards equal to the Link rating. Not up to, equal. So you're actually fucked if you tribute a Link 4 guy, or you want to tribute a Link 4 guy, and you don't have 4 cards to blow up. This was in the structure deck Rocket Revolt. So, like, obviously there's a lot of dark monsters in it you contribute, but yeah, no, this is bad. This is a bad card. Not very good at all.
Doesn't quite work out.
No, it's one of those things. Like we were talking about this when we were discussing like Genesis talking about last turn and stuff, right? Typically, Yu-Gi-Oh cards you can't activate them if you can't resolve their effects. So if there aren't equal to the Link rating cards on the field, you can't flip up Zero Day Blaster. Period. So you can't even like tribute it to do some funny dodging or anything. And also, it is a equal number. So if your opponent doesn't have that many cards and you do have cards and you activate it, you got to blow up your own shit. So, we're going to be showing you a preview image, so it will not be full scale, but this is a card that's coming up. Let me make him a little bigger. Yeah, 150 is probably good. It's a little blurry, but here he is. He's very green, it looks like. And he's got, like, the weird knot thing on his back, but he's not too freaky.
I'm sorry,
other than
why
that
does
his
this
face
look
is
like a
weird.
Predaplant?
That is true. I don't know. So, hey, remember how we talked about Link 5s? Topologic Blaster Dragon, Dark Cyberse, Link 5. It has the front 3 arrows and also the back 2 arrows. 2+ effect monsters. 3,500 attack. So it's bigger because it's a Link 5. You cannot special summon or set monsters to any extra monster zone this card points to. I don't even think you can set monsters to an extra monster zone. But I like the proofing. If a monster is special summoned to a zone a Link monster points to, while this card's in the EMZ, apply one of these effects, but you can't apply the same effect again this turn. Shuffle all other monsters onto the field in the deck, shuffle all spell traps back into the deck, look at your opponent's extra deck, and banish one card for it. This guy's going to be super annoying in Cyber's decks, in Dark decks. Just, if you summon to a zone this points to, you get up to 3 effects. It's got 3 forward-facing arrows to, like, point to your opponent's zones. So you get to make a big guy that lets you shuffle back all of their monsters, lets you shuffle back all spell traps, and then look at your opponent's extra deck and banish it. Basically, cashier or unicorn them. He is a Link 5, so you do got to work a little extra to do it, but this is just going to be a really annoying generic guy. He's going to blast you. Luckily, I think extra deck space is at a premium, so the odds that he will come up, like, a lot, I don't know. But this is a card you're going to want to look out for, because it will be out there. Sorry, I just saw a very funny meme I have to retweet. I'll put it in general. Maybe I'll get on the starboard. He says like he's not the one who initiates most starboard posts. Anyway,
giving you a helping
hand. This brings us to the end of our shenanigans today. Only 2 hours today, but hey, it is what it is. Like I said, we did the back half of an archetype. That means that I think Salmon Grit would have been like 5 hours if we'd done it all at once, so I'm glad we didn't. And we got to talk about the Topologics as well. I'm not sure exactly what we're doing next week. I'll make some shit up. I'll figure it out. We're still doing structure decks. It just so happens that, as I mentioned before, a lot of the structure decks during the Vrains era were just Vrains characters. So, you know, we did Code Talkers, Rockets, and now Salmon Greats. Sorry, I forgot the name for a second. I am a little EP chat, really. So we'll figure out what's going next. I'll keep looking at structure decks. And if not, we can always hit up some more Vrains anime archetypes. I know for a fact we haven't talked about Marincess. Have we actually ever talked about Trickstars? That's a deck I played a few times in Prague and eventually won with. It's a deck I am familiar with, but I don't know if we've talked about it before. But there are several Vrains anime archetypes we can still hit up. Kind of keep going through the soup. So we'll let you know what's coming. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. The Patreon polls up. I should say this also. I changed how the Patreon polls work. Usually they ran for like 2 weeks and then ended in the middle. Going forward, I'm going to have them run basically the whole month, and then we're going to commit to doing last month's episode in the first week of the new month. I think I used to do it that way, but was worried about forgetting or something. I forget stuff anyway, and also it's just better for scheduling. So your voting power lasts longer now, patrons. So feel free to vote. I already have the Fail Portrayal poll up because it was only my pick that was wrong, and Ogdomatic, so I had to make some shit up. But we've switched those out. One of them is BES because we realized we'd never talked about that before. So, you know, if you're curious about those new cards that just came out in Master Duel, give us a jingle. Support us on Patreon at the 5 and up level. Thanks for tuning in. Check out our Rogue Trader stream yesterday. We started Act 2. We spent most of it bumming around on the ship. Look forward to us posting our second episode of the Rogue Trader actual play this week sometime, whenever. And check back tomorrow for Final Fantasy XIV. We will do something. Things will happen. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Ciao.
Bye.